So Pope Leo XIV did an interview with Crux last week, and it's caused both celebration and concern from both the modernist and traditionalist wings of the church. One of his critics was none other than Madonna. So what's her issue with the Pope? Well, in the interview, the Pope said his primary role as leader of the church is confirming Catholics in their faith and sharing the gospel with the world, not resolving global crises. In an Instagram reply, she wrote, "The whole point of teaching and learning the gospel is to inspire people to love one another and make the world a better place, not just with words but with actions, which is exactly what Jesus did. I am truly disappointed by this." So when I first saw that Madonna had criticized the Pope, I figured it would be for something totally unhinged. However, her grievance is actually based on a very common form of confusion. And this is something that Cardinal Robert Sarah has actually addressed. In an interview with LifeSite News, Cardinal Sarah stated, "Many feel lost because they feel and experience that the church is becoming an NGO. The church is not that. We want to make the church a human, horizontal society. We want it to speak a language adapted to the media. We want to make it popular. In this way, priests are urged not to speak of God and the scandal of the cross of Jesus, but to commit themselves body and soul to social issues, agriculture, ecology, dialogue, the fight against poverty, justice, and peace. We no longer speak of God, but of migrants, of the marginalized and the homeless." And so here's the thing that both Cardinal Sarah and the Pope are getting at. We are called to charity and for loving our neighbors through the gospel of Jesus Christ, as we're called to do many things. But it is truly our relationship with God and the act of saving souls that is our core mission. As we see in the Code of Canon Law, the salvation of souls, which must always be the supreme law in the church, is to be kept before one's eyes. So while the church also carries out works of charity, education, and healthcare, all of these flow from her ultimate purpose, leading people to Christ so that they may attain eternal life. Robert Sarah further reiterated this point when he said, "Even if everyone had enough to eat, if all material needs were met and prosperity extended to all, humanity would still not be redeemed. True salvation comes only through worshiping and serving God." So despite gaining the ire of Madonna and others, I think this was a fantastic clarification from the Pope. It's a breath of fresh air to hear clear Catholic teaching that the secular world may not be happy with. The Pope also made all kinds of other news during this interview. Regarding the Latin Mass, he essentially kept the door open for anything. He said he's not entirely sure how he plans to handle this issue. I appreciate that honest response. And he said that the way to resolve the confusion may be through synodality. I actually think this might be a good solution, despite the fact that I'm not a huge lover of the synodal process as a whole. I say that because it's been suspected for a while, and now essentially verified, that the majority of bishops around the world support how the Latin Mass was before the restrictions that came with Traditionis Custodes. Although I'm not sure why the Pope even feels the need to utilize the synod, Pope Francis surveyed bishops around the world before he instituted his TLM restrictions. And while Pope Francis initially said that the bishops didn't care much for the Latin Mass, the leaked documents from a few months back suggest otherwise. So if we already know that the majority of bishops were happy with Pope Benedict's Summorum Pontificum, then why even bother to consult them again? I say this as there is a sense of urgency around this. Latin Mass communities are being shattered as we speak. People's lives have been upended. I hope this can be brought to a swift conclusion. So just wanted to give my 2 cents on those issues. As always, thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe for more Catholic content.